What's up, guys? Week 6, and Baker Mayfield has laid his first egg of the season. Weeks 1 through 4, all great. Week 2 against Chicago was immaculate, and the other 3 weeks were all B+. Has a bye week, week 5, and maybe lost a little of his mojo. Week 6 was easily the least accurate Baker Mayfield's looked all year, and he looked completely out of sync on the deep ball. Now, there were a lot of drops. There were, and Baker's play wasn't inexcusable. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good enough in some places where it would have been really easy to make really big plays and probably win the game. The Bucs defense did enough. Baker just didn't. That's enough talk, though. That's enough analyzing, punditing. Let's just get to the film, shall we? Let's do it.
All right, first drive. Bucs are going to come out, and Baker's going to start off real solid on this first throw. You can see the motion in the defense shift, so you know it's going to be zone, and it looks like a cover 3 shell. It is. Chris Godwin with a nice little over route, and Baker with a perfect throw to him. Solid throw, first down. Let's see a lot of that today, huh? Not so lucky. Good throw by Baker to start the drive off, and then here, we're going to need to see the tight copy. It looks like it could be routine, but it's actually going to end up being a bad throw to Trey Palmer on the slant, just a little bit too far ahead of him. And then on third down, this one's going to sting, right? At the top of the screen, you'll see Mike Evans. As you'll see here, Mike Evans is about to win leverage. And also, notice, Mike Evans is being covered by somebody number 56. 56 means, that's right, it's a linebacker. So we got to be hitting Mike Evans here. As you can see, Mike Evans does come open. However, Baker Mayfield has other ideas. He sees his running back on a linebacker and wants to do the same thing, utilize that matchup to his advantage. As you can see, Rachaad White actually has upfield leverage. Because of that upfield leverage, you see you got the line up and the line to the sideline. That circles where you want to throw the ball. Guess where Baker throws the ball? Yeah, you guessed it. Right there. He does a perfect job. That ball is perfect. And it's even thrown with enough touch that Rachaad White can try to get the jump ball like he's Alshon Jeffrey. He's not, so he shouldn't. Or he could have just turned and run and caught it over his shoulder if he tracked it properly. As you can see, the ball was perfectly in Rachaad White's hands, and it falls to the ground because Rachaad White made a mistake. I'm also going to show you the first play of drive 2 because it's the only play of drive 2, and it's a heartbreaker. As you can see, play action, and Mike Evans at the bottom of your screen is wide open. That's a 50-yard gain, might be a touchdown. I don't think Mike Evans has that speed anymore, but you get the idea. And instead of lofting the ball over the top to make sure it's a safe, huge gain, Baker Mayfield tries to gun it. Why would you try to gun it? Now, Baker Mayfield is 6'1", so he's going to get balls tipped more often than, a normal-sized quarterback. But this is not a function of him being too short to throw over the line. It's a function of him choosing to throw the ball the wrong way with velocity instead of touch. Right here, you can see, you see that lower arm slot and the ball pointed down. That's because he's trying to zip it in there and throw it directly into Mike Evans' chest rather than lobbing it over the top and letting him catch an airball punt. Moonball punt, not airball. Airball would be bad. That's what Baker does the rest of the game. He misses deep on a lot of throws today. Instead, the ball gets batted and therefore picked. And so it's not a pickable ball. It's just a bad throw. That's on Baker, but it's not. It shouldn't have been a pick. It should have hit the ground and it should have been second down. Really unfortunate. All right, here's that second throw to Trey Palmer over the middle, and at first glance from the sideline copy, it looked like it might have been decent, but here we can see it's just a missed ball. Trey Palmer could have caught it, but it would have taken a great play. Here, we're going to see the third throw, the one to Rachaad White on third down, and we already saw from the wide copy that Mike Evans was probably the... But here we'll see the actual ball placement, and it was absolutely good. So on drives 1 and 2, we had 2 bad throws and 2 good throws. Right? You had the good throw to Godwin to start it and the good throw to end it on third down. Here, this is another frustrating play. Baker does a really good job of moving out of the pocket. That's a plus movement. But then Baker gets a little too cute. He sees he has Evans open, and he does. But that's a late ball over the middle. And so this is actually a pretty decent throw. It's actually pretty decent field reading, but I don't like the decision to put the ball in a place where a cornerback can make an easier play on it. So we're going to call that a bad throw with a plus pocket movement. So far, Baker's got 2 goods and 3 bads. Nothing routine. Never great when you can't get a routine throw on your first 2 drives. Here, this is the sideline copy. As you can see, not a ton open by the time Baker comes out of his rollout. You kind of want to see him gun this ball to Evans here, but his feet aren't set. By the time his feet get set, Evans is covered. Now, you could go to 88, the tight end at the top of the screen, but he's running inside back towards coverage. If he would have audibled, just kind of freelanced his route and cut it up the middle, sure, huge gain. But the way this play develops, absolutely nothing for Baker to do other than try to create something with his legs. Sucks, but that's what it is. Next throw, 3rd drive, little play action, and a screen. Finally, Baker gets a routine throw. Granted, it goes nowhere. Baker making checks at the line. Top of his drop. Who's open? Not really anybody. Going to have some better anticipation than me, or just check it down to one of your flats, right? This is a Hank. You got 3 curls at the sticks and 2 flats. The Joe Lombardi special. Baker breaks out of pressure. Okay, nice pocket movement, but I hate this. I get that it's 3rd down and your coordinator called Hank, which is one of my least favorite things a coordinator can do. Because look, your options are very limited. You can throw to your flat here or your flat here, right? Because all 3 of your curls are basically covered by some softer zone defense. If you throw the ball to the tight end, he's got to make up about 10 yards. He's got 2 blockers, 3 defenders. Fat chance, right? But if you throw it to your running back, he's got no blockers and the same 10 yards to gain. This is a no-win situation. Now, I would like to see Baker check it down just to avoid a hit, but I understand not really wanting to throw either of those options, and I really hate that none of his receivers do the scramble drill. Punt, and we're on to 4th down, the 4th drive, and the Bucs just really haven't even begun to get anything going, right? Another Hank concept with his outside wide receivers. All he has is the flat. And Baker doesn't want to take the flat. Baker wants to create with his legs. I'm starting to notice a pattern that I really hate, and here I'm going to give Baker a negative run. I don't understand why you would run this ball when you have at least a check down. You're Baker Mayfield. You're not Lamar Jackson. If you're Lamar Jackson, that's probably a 10-yard gain, but that's not your game. Regardless, when Baker is allowed to throw the ball to remotely open receivers, he's great at it. There's another good throw. Baker is really attacking the second level well in this game, and on 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 12, look at this dart. This is a great throw. It's only about 18 yards downfield, but look at the placement. Top of his drop, goes through his reads. 3rd read, guns it to Mike Evans, and you literally can't throw the ball better than that. He hits him on the chest, in between the numbers, in stride. Mike Evans, if Mike Evans were to live up to his reputation, he catches this ball and it's another 10 yards minimum. But that's just an inexcusable drop. 1 of 5 that I charted in this game. On to drive 5. Little dump off. Finally, Baker's hitting the flat, and there's kind of why he didn't want to. It gets nothing. The running backs on the Buccaneers are completely worthless. So there's a routine throw, but it manifests itself in absolutely no way. And the Buccaneers really haven't been creative in this game getting anybody open, especially off of a bye. That's discouraging. Now, here, I'm disappointed because Baker has his tight end on 3rd down open for a curl uncovered. You have to hit that. Instead, Baker wants the deep shot. But it's perfect. Now, this is frustrating, right? You want the easy 1st down. Baker wants more. And when Baker can throw a 30-yard ball on a dime like that, great throw, by the way, not quite elite for my tastes, it's okay. But later in the game, we see that Baker struggles with his deep accuracy, and he's not taking the easy stuff. Here, another routine throw. So Baker has a lot of really positive throws in this game. He just hasn't been hitting the routine stuff as frequently as I would like to see, and the Buccaneers have had drops. Really, the difference in this game, in my opinion, is simply that Baker got that ball batted at the line of scrimmage instead of hitting Mike Evans for a guaranteed big gain. Here, Baker gets out of the pocket a little bit. Nice job, pocket movement. Throws the ball into his running back's hands for a short gain. That's a routine throw, and it's drop number 2. The Buccaneers running backs, seriously, I'm not joking or exaggerating at all when I say I don't think they're useful in any scenario, and I frankly don't think they should ever be on the field because they don't help in any way. Now here, PFF grades this as an interception-worthy throw. I disagree. Watch the top of the screen. I think it's Devin Tompkins at the top. He's running a little bit of a pivot slant, and right here, he runs in the defender and kind of falls. Now, it hits the defender in the hands right here. Defender has 2 hands on it. But the fact that the defender has 2 hands on it is much more a function of the wide receiver not doing his job than it is Baker making a bad decision or throwing the ball inaccurately. So I completely disagree with characterizing that as an interception-worthy throw. However, I certainly think it's bad. Routine throw, RPO. Why don't you do that more often against these zone defenses? I would really like to see the Buccaneers utilize the middle of the field, which they just don't. Top of the drop. Again, it looks like your only real option is going to be the check down. Baker sets up. He wants it all. He has it all. There's Trey Palmer open. Remember when I said Baker's deep accuracy sucked? Here's another look at it. Just, again, air it out, man. Underthrow it a little bit if you have to. Bend him back towards the sideline. Just make sure he has a play on the ball. Bad throw. Here, drive 6 is going to end on this play, and it has nothing to do with Baker. This is one of Baker's 3 batted balls, and it has nothing to do with his height. It has nothing to do with how quickly the ball came out of his hand. Watch the right tackle. He just doesn't block. The right tackle is thinking, and that's Luke Goedecke, is thinking, I got to get out there in space to block for this screen. He never once thinks he has to block the actual end from batting the pass. It's not on Baker. I'll grade it as a throwaway. No amount of height is going to change that ball. And drive 6 ends because the right tackle didn't do his job, and it looks like an incomplete pass from Mayfield. Here, another routine throw. RPO. Why are they not doing this more often? I'm not certain. They need to abandon the run. They need to get rid of their running backs. They need to go empty way more often and utilize the middle of the field, but they don't do that. Here we got some play action. Top of the drop. Baker guns it in there. Good throw. Nice job. Love to see it. Like I said, Baker has a lot of really positive plays in this game. He just missed on the deep ball too many times. Here, a fade. You could argue that it's some defensive holding, but it's also a terrible ball. Again, low trajectory on his deeper balls and his fade balls. I don't know why he's not putting air under it, but he's not. Here's drop 3. Mike Evans, again, he's had 2 drops in every game this season, right on his hands for a first down. That is egregious. I don't understand Mike Evans. I think I know what's happening. Mike Evans was always a pretty slow player as it was. So the fact that he's older now, Mike Evans is really struggling to run as fast as an NFL receiver should. When you have to put more effort into running fast, you have less effort and focus to dedicate towards catching the ball. And that's when the drops happen. We saw it with Julio Jones, too, towards the end of his career, although I guess his career isn't over now. Eagles are blowing my mind with that one. But as you can see on the tight copy, this ball is perfect. It hits your 6'3" possession receiver in his hands at the first down marker, and he just falls and drops it. That's embarrassing. And certainly not Baker's fault. That's a good throw, a solid throw. That's a drive killer. Buccaneers have to settle for a field goal on what absolutely should have been a touchdown drive. Here, Baker does a really good job of moving the pocket. Nobody is open naturally from the play, so he scrambles and makes Mike Evans open by utilizing leverage. Good play. Solid throw. On the line of routine and solid, but definitely plus pocket movement. Because it's Baker Mayfield, we'll call it routine. If it had been almost any other quarterback, it would be solid. Remember, to fight any possible bias, we always downgrade Baker throws if they're close. Here, another blitz, another batted ball. This is going to be the 3rd batted ball of the game, the second one that's Baker's fault, kinda. Cornerback blitz just unblocked, gets his hands up. Good job by the defender. Bad ball. Plus pocket movement because he's fading away and under pressure when it happens, but alas, a bad ball nonetheless. Here, Baker's going to throw a screen to Devin Tompkins, and it's a borderline bad throw, but also borderline routine throw. Devin Tompkins messes up because right here he should be charging in on the ball, taking advantage of that inside seam, that crease in the defense, but instead he waits for it. Baker also could have done better by driving the ball. See how he kind of fades away and has his legs really wide? That wasn't necessary. He has plenty of room in the pocket. Yeah, again, it's one of those throws where a lot of quarterbacks, I'd call it routine just to be nice, but it's Baker. I don't have the luxury of being nice. People think I'm biased towards him, so I will be actively biased against him. Bad ball. Here, Baker does a really nice job of moving about the pocket and then out of the pocket. Nobody's open once again. You could throw that super deep ball on the post. I might have. I probably would have. Instead, Baker's just trying to get the first down on second down. Does a really good job of utilizing Mike Evans' frame. Could be a good ball, but I don't like the decision to not throw deep, and it's Baker Mayfield, so we call it routine instead. Here, third down. This upsets me. You've got K-Dot in the tight end lined up on a corner. Right here, that's a frame mismatch. You can get the first down easily by utilizing leverage. You've got a similar scenario with Mike Evans. Just utilize the leverage. And hell, I mean, Chris Godwin even broke open. You just got to anticipate it a little bit. Baker did none of those. Baker instead decided he wanted to go for the deep ball. And you know what? The deep ball was open. And look at this. Baker even throws a little bit of a moon ball, lets his receiver get under it, but he misses. This wasn't a case of trying to be too fine like on the earlier deep ball he missed. It was just a case of missing. There's a common thread with Baker's misses on the deep ball in this game, and that's that they're all overthrows. And overthrows are much worse than underthrows because an underthrow, at least your receiver can come back to it. If you guys watch the Jared Goff video I intend to make a little bit later this week, by the way, plus movement, routine throw. If you watch the Jared Goff video I intend to make a little later this week, you'll see that when Jared Goff misses on deep balls, it's typically underthrows. But on an underthrow, you allow your receiver the ability to get back into the play and make a play on the ball. Mike Evans with a nice catch on a routine throw. Kudos to Mike Evans for not dropping it again. Reminder that we are at 4 drops already in this game, and we've got more that might come. Here, Baker. This is the right read. This is an open receiver. You could have thrown to Godwin on the post if you like that better, but there's nothing wrong with throwing on the sideline in the 2-minute drill to Mike Evans, who's open. Just overthrew it. You can't do that. Now, Mike Evans tracks the ball a little funky. Here, I mean, I'll show you. Right here, he's looking backwards, and it really slows him down. This is poor tracking. See how much he slows down there? But it doesn't change the fact that the ball was out of bounds and inaccurate. I think that that's on Baker. That's a bad ball. And again, that's more of that over-the-shoulder, deeper ball that Baker has just struggled with so badly in this game. Here, Baker steps up in the pocket. Good, you needed to do that, right? But you didn't need to run. You could have stepped up in the pocket and reestablished. Throw the ball away. Don't run. It's the 2-minute drill. You're down 2 touchdowns. I hate that decision. Negative run again. Baker's pocket presence has been good in this game, as usual this season, but his running decisions are terrible. He needs to stop. He's not a runner. He has enough running ability to occasionally break it out, but he's trying to use it like it's his second pitch, and it's just not. This needs to be what Baker's game is about. It needs to be what the Buccaneers' offense is about. They have slower but savvy wide receivers, veteran wide receivers who know how to create separation. Let them do it. Get over the middle. And abandon the goddamn run game. Here, Baker, clean drop back. Nobody really open again. I guess you could check it down to the running back. I was wrong. Baker has better anticipation than me. He sees Trey Palmer coming on this clearing over route and steps into it. What a throw. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-yard throw from the launch point. Actually, it's 25 yards from the line of scrimmage because Baker was at the line of scrimmage when he launched it. 25-yard downfield throw on a dime like that is usually great or elite, but because if you look at the coverage, it was wide open, I'm going to give it plus pocket movements and just a solid throw. It's the 2-minute drive. It was a softer defense. That's not the kind of context of play that lends itself to a greater elite throw. Now here, Baker, almost immediate pressure at the top of his drop, getting hit as he throws, so we already have a plus pocket movement in this play because he got the ball off. Now, we're going to eventually need the tight copy because I can't tell how accurate this ball is. Like, when we see the tight copy, we can tell if Evans missed or if the defensive back should have picked it. I certainly don't think it's a pickable ball. I think it's a bad ball just because Baker was being hit as he throws it, so I really can't blame him if the ball is placed a little bit poorly. But it might have been a great ball. We just got to see the tight copy. Now here, Baker, clean pocket, receiver open over the middle. Look at that dart. I really think that Baker is the best quarterback in the NFL at throwing to that second level from a clean pocket. I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that. If you're trying to throw between 10 and 20 yards downfield, Baker Mayfield's your guy, as long as you can keep him clean. Here, another clean pocket, and this is going to hurt. Look at Devin Tompkins right here wide open, right? So he's going to be running kind of a post. Well, I mean, literally a post. And then you've got cover 3-ish. So you've got a cornerback who's going to be responsible for this. The safety is going to be responsible for the middle of the field. But neither of them are covering the area of the field that Baker should be leading the ball to. Right, Baker should be throwing this ball right about here because I don't think that this safety can range, especially if Baker holds him with his eyes as he's done, and I don't think that this corner can beat Devin Tompkins to the inside like that. So this ball should be here, and instead it gets thrown like here. Because it's here, this cornerback can get in and make a play. Though we're going to need to see the tight copy yet again, theme of the day, just because this ball is almost catchable. I can't quite tell if the corner made a good play or if Baker left it behind. I think he just left it behind. I'm going to call it a bad throw. But damn, it was close to being a touchdown. And that's just, again, it's on Baker. Play action. I don't know who thought that could ever be a run. And Baker on a deep ball. It was covered. And again, he leads him on this one. If he would have led Devin Tompkins on the play before the way he just led Trey Palmer, he probably gets a touchdown on the prior play. And if he would have just thrown the ball up and utilized upward leverage on Trey Palmer and like turned that into a streak, he probably gets a touchdown on that play. Another bad ball. Here, this sucks. Being contacted as he's throwing, so he can't really follow through, and I understand that takes something off the ball, but this is Baker's first underthrow of the game, and it once again takes a touchdown off the board. And I think that's going to be the game. We got one more. Clean pocket. A little bit open, really tough throw, just overthrows it. This is that deep ball to Mike Evans where Baker Mayfield's about to get hit right here. And you can see the safety trips. Oh, that stinks. So, as you can see, Mike Evans actually does get a chance to catch this ball. But obviously, it's not because the throw was good. It's because the defensive back was falling down, tipped the ball up to him. So, this is a bad throw. And Baker Mayfield's lucky that it didn't get picked, although I don't think it was pickable simply because I don't think it's his fault that the ball was inaccurate. I think if he had been kept cleaner, I think that the ball probably would have been on target. Now here's going to be that one to Devin Tompkins in the end zone where Baker just didn't lead him enough, sat him down a little too much for my liking. As you can see, there's plenty of room to the middle of the field where Baker could have led him just another step or two, and it would have made all the difference in the world. But instead, he doesn't, and actually, those are Devin Tompkins' hands around the ball. So it's definitely not pickable. But he gave Cameron Sutton enough time to get back into the play.
As you can see here, Baker Mayfield had 0 elite throws, despite having probably 4 opportunities for elite throws. That's rough. He had the one great throw, but that's it. Only one great throw, and he had opportunities for another 3 or 4 of those. The great throw to Mike Evans, which was dropped, of course, and would have extended the drive on the third drive. The second substantial drive, the second drive was a batted pick on the first play. Another opportunity for Baker to have at least a good, if not great, throw had he just put the ball up in the air over the line. Hate to see it. Baker did a good job in the pocket again. He's been really good at navigating pockets this season. It's just he ran too often. He wasn't finding dudes open, and when he was, they were deep downfield, and he wasn't hitting them. This was Baker Mayfield's least accurate game of the season by far. Before this, week 3 against Philadelphia was the least accurate he had been, and he hit 76% of his passes. That's great. Against Detroit, only 68% accurate. That's about league average, but when you're running a motion and quick game-based offense, when you're an accurate quarterback that's held to a higher standard, that's not good enough. Overall, I gave Baker a C. I thought this was replacement-level football. I thought he was a fine enough starting quarterback, but there were too many opportunities to steal this game from the Lions by making good throws, not even great or elite throws, just good throws down the field, and his deep accuracy was woeful. Which brings me to another point. I know that it's a little bit personnel-driven just because the Bucs don't really have a vertical threat, right? Mike Evans is a deep threat, but not a vertical. Like, he's not speedy. He's not going to separate downfield. You're just going to have to throw him a jump ball and hope he goes and gets it. Baker Mayfield doesn't have an elite throw this year. And he's played really well, but he doesn't have an elite throw, largely because his deep accuracy has not been great, and it hasn't been great in a while now. That said, he does throw a lot of great passes, a little above league average, and he's really, really good at throwing that second-level solid ball on the season. Routine balls, obviously, very good. He's been super accurate. His accuracy downfield has been great. It's just deep, deep downfield. It has stunk. And again, it's like I mentioned, it's because he's not putting that arc on the ball. He's not throwing moon balls. He's trying to laser it like Byron Leftwich used to when he was with the Steelers and the Jaguars. And it just doesn't work. You have to be too perfect to throw those deep balls on a line like that. And it's too much to ask from anybody, period. Baker Mayfield's been a savant moving about the pocket, and he hasn't fumbled this year, at least not a real fumble that's his fault. That said, I want to see him run a lot less. I mean, against New Orleans before the bye, he had 3 positive runs and no negative runs, so maybe he was just feeling himself a little bit too much. But overall, really unimpressive. I thought that his slugging was a little bit higher than his grade was. Typically a 3 slugging is like a B- C+ range. I decided this was a C game, more negative plays than positive, and just, again, the deep ball, man. If he hits one of those, this is a completely different game. But he didn't, so it wasn't, and it was never very close. Not even because the Lions played particularly well. The Lions didn't. Again, if Baker Mayfield just puts some air under that batted ball interception, huge gain to Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield's done really well protecting the ball this year. Through 5 games, he's only got 4 pickable passes. It's below the league average as a rate. He only has thrown a pickable ball on 2.2% of his dropbacks. League average is almost 3%. But again, you gotta hit those deep balls. And until he does, I'm going to be a little skeptical of Baker Mayfield. Because as much as I love him, Minnesota, not a great defense. Chicago, bad defense. So bad. Philadelphia was a really good defense, and Baker played well against them. But they didn't win, and that's all people are going to remember. And then New Orleans, a great defense, but Baker didn't have to do a ton because it was a blowout, because the Saints couldn't move the ball. So hopefully in Week 7 against Buffalo, Baker Mayfield can hit that deep ball a little bit. Hopefully this doesn't scare the Buccaneers coaching staff off of allowing Baker to cook a little bit. And hopefully the Buccaneers just realize they can't run the ball and they need to trust Baker, get him some easy looks, get him some quick game as an extension of the running game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's talk for the podcast, which I'm recording later tonight. Please tune in to Please Bet on Football Games, where my co-host Alex and I are going to try to figure out all of our bets for the week. That's all I got for you today on Baker Mayfield. Not thrilled about it. Would have been really nice to see him get a good game and a good win against a good team. But alas, there are 17 of these things, and he's only been bad in 1. Hopefully he can bounce back next week. Otherwise, I might have to get the Twitter fingers again. Till next time, I'm just going to keep grinding film and recording my podcast, but mostly grinding film. Hasta.